Hello and welcome back to the Weird and Proud podcast. It's Sammy.
James.
Gorgeous. We nailed that. If we ever
One of these
need to have
times I'm throwing you off. Just get ready.
you literally every other time have thrown me off, but that's okay.
I've been not doing it for a while, just in hopes
On my
that
birthday weekend,
the
the least you could do is do
You're
a
right.
perfect intro.
Happy birthday. That's your present.
On my day of birth?
Yeah, on the day after
The disrespect.
your day of birth.
The day after, technically.
In which, from what I've been told, you have the same exact amount of hair from the day you were born till now.
What?
Didn't you come out with like a full head of hair?
Oh, yeah. I was like, wait, that's a saying? That's crazy.
No, but it's kind of cute and funny. Because baby Sam was just covered in hair.
Yeah, I was very hairy. Can you believe? Hi, everyone. Hope everyone's having a great week. Yes, it's true. It's my birthday weekend, birthday week, birthday month. I don't ever shut up about it. And I'm 35, officially geriatric. Start my AARP membership this month.
I don't think that's technically geriatric.
I think it is. Pretty sure that's what the new label.
So Jake Paul wants to fight you now?
Yeah, exactly.
I've seen way too many memes to not make that joke. It's like in my head.
I know. I can't. That poor man. That poor old man.
Mike Tyson did awesome. Jake Paul really fought smart. Like, he was very smart. He used his length.
I felt
he
so
used
bad. I
his
couldn't
arm.
even watch it half the time.
You know what was the worst part about that?
What?
Netflix completely went bonkers and the whole thing stopped. And that's the beauty of them. They don't care, and they're not going to lose any viewers because of it.
Right. Like, people are like, never watching Netflix again.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Yeah, okay.
It'd be like never again means like a 24-hour period.
Yeah, or even less, like 2 hours later.
They're already on tonight.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, that was exciting. You know, my big things happening around my birthday that aren't just my day of birth. The Mike Tyson fight.
But all of them were overshadowed.
Oh, right.
Like,
everyone in the back of their minds was like, we really should be celebrating the
roots
gape.
of those plants can't grow because of the shadow that you cast.
The gape was born on this day. Like, we must celebrate her name.
The gape came out. Gape first.
Gape first. Gapes and gapes. Anyways, you guys, we have a great show, lots of exciting things, just so many things to look forward to. And really, life is so much better when you have things to look forward to. And I think that's the problem, like, come January, because literally, I feel like, after the holidays, you don't have much to look forward to. But right now, we're going to be present. We're going to, really just think about all the things that are coming up so soon. Right? Or why are you looking at me like I'm on crack?
I've been waiting for you to sing your Baltimore song.
Oh, you were looking at me like I'm cracked out, which I kind of am. This is the time on Sunday where things get crazy, but exciting things. Yes, let me list the ways. Let me list. Good morning, Baltimore. We're coming to Baltimore. If you're listening to this, it's coming out. It's going to be in a couple days. Thursday, November 21st, 7:30 at Magooby's Joke House. If you aren't going...
Just a great name.
I know, Magooby's. If you aren't going and you live near Baltimore, I'm going to be really upset. I just need you to know. That's the one thing I would love for my birthday is for you to come to my shows. We can hug in real life. We can laugh, giggle, LOL, make out. I don't know.
If you've ever thought about getting something
for me
and someone else, buy your friend their birthday gift or Christmas present,
right,
or Thanksgiving present,
or just to be like, listen, we deserve a night out.
Have a Friendsgiving,
or even just come by yourself too. You don't need some people are like, I can't find a friend. I have a whatever.
If you
come by yourself,
if you tell me when I'm out in the crowd getting secrets that you came by yourself because
James
of this podcast
will
episode,
give you
super extra special attention,
special treatment,
and I'll come up with something.
Yeah.
If you're like, I'm here by myself, absolutely.
Special treatment. You get special, the James special. But other than, just my day of birth and the fact that the gape was born this week, other things to look forward to. We also have the holidays. We have, I guess this is going to be after the holidays. Talking about things that you can look to after. I cannot speak. Look forward to after the holidays. Other shows we have coming up. We're going to be in Philly. We're going to be in Atlanta. I have some shows planned for Florida and South Carolina. Do like a little southern.
So we do have things to look forward to in January?
So we do have things to look forward to. I'm just like circling back that we do.
In January.
I lied straight to you. In January and February. So get all your texts, SamanthaRamsell.com/events. It's going to be so fun. It's literally best show ever. Best show ever. Okay. Now, let's just chat about what we can look forward to in this episode. Because this is going to be another variety episode there, because there's a lot of weird things happening. Like a lot of like local news, more like relevant recent news that is weird that I feel like we need to talk about.
Have people wanted us to go back to the transitioning thing? Do we need?
I'm transitioning. No, it's all natural. I think it's naturally happening.
We're transitioning. I miss that.
Do you? Well, I don't think anyone else. No one, not one person said I really miss you guys sing transition.
I've had so many people up in my DMs telling me about the transitioning.
I'm sure. We have a weird watch. We're going to talk about probably one of my favorite shows right now.
Oh, we're going to talk about that?
Yeah.
Such a good show.
Seriously, one of the best shows.
And we didn't talk. I don't want to give away too many spoilers for this show.
Right.
We're just going to talk about.
We're going to talk about the overview.
Okay.
Yeah. Just people want to know like what we're watching.
I don't want to give spoilers away to this.
No. Couple, just to let you guys know what we're going to talk about. Aliens are in the oceans. I got scammed, and I need to tell you about it. And a man from Wisconsin faked his death and found in Uzbekistan, and his name is not James.
To be clear.
But you never know. You honestly you never truly know a person, Like you could say like you're going to work, like you have these work events, but like
was I in
what do I know you in Uzbekistan? Like you could have flown to Uzbekistan and I would have no idea. Like how would I know? It's like something to really think about.
Probably the amount of time I was gone is what it takes to actually.
Yeah, that's
longer.
You could have gone somewhere else. You could have gone to like I don't know.
There's got to be you know what? What if there's a town in the country
called
named Uzbekistan?
Uzbeki? I don't know. Probably, James. I don't know. You could probably just be in the town over. I don't know what you do. Like, how do I know? And then also, if we have time, I want James to do like some Gen Z slang, because there's nothing funnier to me than James talking some Gen Z slang. You said this is what set it off. Is you said something that was like, what? You were like, I can't remember. It was at dinner. What did you say that I was like, since when? You're like something about like, is it lit? And I was like, since when do you say lit?
This was a little while ago, but I might have said lit.
You might have said lit. You could have. So anyway, so let's get into it. You know what?
Was it because of that mushroom sauce? Because that was lit.
Bussin'.
Yeah.
I got a couple things. I have a little quiz for you if we have time.
What is bussin'?
Of course, what is bussin'?
Yeah.
You're gonna find out. I'm gonna quiz you.
Oh crap.
And then of course we have Weird Secrets and James Weird Science Corner. Breaking news in James Weird Science Corner.
Don't say it yet.
No, of course I'm gonna give you all the glory.
I want to break the news.
I want to break the news. Okay, so first we need to just get this out of the way. We need to talk about our new favorite show of all time. Not of all time. Wow, I'm getting like so crazy. What is wrong with me? I'm feeling like wild this Sunday. It's called Silo, and it's all that on Apple TV.
It's
so good.
Apple TV.
Apple TV's
Ted Lasso, Severance, they do have some stuff. The morning show was really good. We only watched a season.
Yeah, I know.
I know Apple has, I think Nebria might have taken them over. Apple has some of the highest cash restores of any business in the country, possibly the world, but there's some bigger ones. Anyway, they got a lot of money. They wanted to get in the TV game. They've been putting out quality stuff.
Seriously, some of my favorite shows.
Silo is not as great as Ted Lasso in my mind, just because how much I loved that show.
Okay.
But it's Ted Lasso. You know how much I love Ted Lasso.
You do love Ted Lasso.
This is a good show. It's so good.
Okay. And obviously not to give any spoilers, because you need to kind of go into the show blind. I feel a little
That's
bit.
why I want to give zero spoilers.
But just to get you like excited to watch it, it's very dystopian. And it's this idea that there's like this community of people that are kind of shut off from the rest of the world, and we don't know why. And it's so good. Lots of action. It's a good movie for, any and all of the
If this
genders
just gets
and
you to go
ages.
watch a trailer for season 1, watch a
Yeah, go
couple of
watch
them.
the trailer and you're gonna be like, wait, what?
The acting is fantastic.
Yeah.
Production value, fantastic.
Yeah. Very dystopian. Also, it gives me like Handmaid's Tale vibes, but not really. Like, it has nothing to do with Handmaid's Tale, but
Other shows we compared it to
yeah, what was the other
were
one we were talking about that? Oh, well, I was also like talking about From, the show that I watched, that's very kind of
now related to it on the same network. We just mentioned Severance. There were some
Severance,
similarities.
very, very much so.
There were some similarities there. Right away, I felt like it had some Truman Show elements.
Yeah.
Not comedy side,
yeah.
but there were some Truman Show elements to
Yeah.
like how the story is told a little bit.
Yep. And just like a strong female protagonist. Like I forget, Rebecca Ferguson is her name.
And if I still didn't
actress.
look this up to confirm,
What
she's
else
from
she's
the
in?
Mission Impossible
Yeah,
movies.
she is just like a badass
She's
bitch. It's
fantastic.
just fun to watch her. She's really, really good. The acting's amazing. So check that out. Let us know if you've seen it. What are your thoughts? Are you all caught up? And season 2 just started, so like you can totally catch up. We binged like the first season in like 2 days.
And that's the thing. I can't believe
It
how
was so
long
good.
we slept on that, because that was a last year
I
show.
know. Well, it's one of those things that I feel like you see and you're like, Silo, like, what is that? Like, is it a little too out there? And no, it wasn't. It
No.
really isn't. It's so good. And it's also based on books. I feel like everyone has messaged me saying that the books are also amazing.
It's the kind of out there that you want to be a part of.
Yeah. Yeah. A little spooky, it's so good. Anyways, okay, you guys, this story is so crazy. First of all, of course, like everything, I saw this originally on TikTok.
Did we transition?
Yes. James? It's natural. Like, see, she's like, the listeners are like, where is she going? Like, what's happening? Like, what's going on?
I felt like Peach when she comes out of one of her slumbers.
No, yeah. Okay, James, listen. It's worse when you point it out every time. Okay? So I saw this on TikTok about this father from Wisconsin, and his name is not James. Maybe it is. Who knows? Faked his own death and left the country, went to Uzbekistan to be with some random woman he met online. And this is crazy because there's an element to it that is kind of wild. Like about a month before this actually happened, he was just found to be in Uzbekistan recently, but he faked his own death in August. And about a month before he fled the country, there was some like social media, like TikToker street interviewer who was just like randomly interviewing people on the streets and was like, what's something on your mind right now? Like, you see those videos all the time of people on the street with microphones being like, hey, can I ask you a question? Like, and going around to random people. Apparently this girl, unbeknownst to her, goes up to him, the father. He was out riding his bike, and she was like, and I forget the exact question, but was like, what's something like you're really considering doing right now, or something you're thinking about, doing in the future? And he goes, I'm thinking about maybe going to Uzbekistan. Yeah. And she's like, what? Uzbekistan? Why? And he's like, I don't know. Something to think about. And then just like rides away. And then so like that video is going viral on social media.
Oh my gosh.
And so basically this guy, he's 45, Green Lake, Wisconsin. Do you know where that is?
I can't point at it on a Wisconsin map, but if I looked at it, I'd probably
I was gonna say, I don't know if that's near you.
I want to say south.
Okay. Well,
in Wisconsin.
Green Lake, Wisconsin. He had 2 kids and a wife. Obviously,
that's the worst freaking part. That's horrible.
So crazy. So he went out kayaking, quote unquote, and he just never came home from kayaking. But he like fakes the scene to make it look like he must have drowned kayaking, like flipped everything, left everything. And literally this woman he met online in Uzbekistan, he just up and vanished. And for months, literally since August, this happened in August, the family has been searching. They searched the lake for like 90 days that he was in. So, like, the waste of resources. And he, like, apparently the only reason they found out that he was in Uzbekistan is because before he left, he also, like, his personal bank accounts, like, he had switched some of the email addresses and was asking questions to the bank about, like, foreign, being able to get money out from foreign countries and all this stuff. And then, of course, police start digging further and go on his computer and find all these messages and these weird sites and him talking to this woman. But, like, how crazy is that? Like, it's, because you hear a lot of these stories about women who kind of do that. Like, like the Gone Girl, like we just talked about that Sherry Papini, like faked her own death. And I feel like we just haven't heard of a man do it because most of the time, a lot of people are pointing out, they like just murder their wife, they like pull a Chris Watts, who was a guy who literally was having an affair and then just like killed his whole family, like went crazy and killed them. So people are like, well, at least he didn't kill his whole family. They at least, wasn't murder.
I'm so happy that people, and I'm generally a positive person. I'm glad that people look for the positive in that sort of situation.
I know.
But it's
so
still
crazy.
just
But
awful.
even especially like for the kids, like the kids were like, wait, what? Like they had service and just so sad. But apparently like he did have a big life insurance policy. So like at least some of the, that was the other thing. People were like, well, at least he got like the family. I think they got like $500,000 or something like that.
Are they going to get to keep it though?
Well, that's the other question. Is like now that he's found, and by the way, they can't find him. He's still in Uzbekistan somewhere.
They just know he's there.
They just know he's there. He won't respond. And like at this point, they're like, he probably is just never going to come home.
And Uzbekistan, I have no idea if they
how the
extradite.
government, right?
They're not going to
like,
care.
They're not going to spend their time.
No,
they don't. Yeah, right.
They'd want to have American money there.
Totally. So just crazy. So they're like trying to beg him to come home, but they're like, if he does come home, he'll have to pay so much money. Like he'll probably owe, millions just because he needs to pay all the restitution for all of the searches. And I'm sure,
But for your,
I know for your kid. I know. No, that's the part is that
there's
like,
too many stories
what?
about that with kids that just, it kills me that anything true crime related where the kids are involved.
I know. It's too much. It's too much. All right. You want to hear how I got? I'm going to tell you guys this. And I'm wondering if any of you guys also got. Okay. So there's this guy on TikTok and he's showing these videos and talking about this guy named Omar Odavi. If you guys have heard, I don't know if you've heard this name. If you're on TikTok, like you'll have to go look this up for yourself and see if like I'm just really dumb or what. But this guy, I don't even know who this guy was. He's just talking about Omar Odavi and how this man is known as like the animal whisperer. He's like from a young age, he always was helping animals. Like animals just gravitated towards him. He had this way of calming animals down. And now he like works with they didn't say the name of it, but he works with this huge wildlife rehabilitation center and also works like with a lot of nonprofits that help animals. And he was showing all these videos of like this quote unquote Omar Andavi guy and like how he'd swim with like through fish and this fish would like swim with him and like sharks would like gravitate towards him, but they like wouldn't like act like they were trying to, I don't know, like start shit with him. I don't know. Like they weren't trying to be aggressive towards him. They were just like kind of like swim and like kind of like chill with him, like all these different animals. And he even said he like has this whole list, like playlist of all these videos that he has about this guy. And at one point too, he talks about that people that like think there might be something in his blood that like makes him gravitate towards animals. Like at one point he was talking about like he might have like a certain level of mercury in his blood, or he might like have some sort of like metals in his blood that attract animals to him. So I'm like, wait, what? Like, this is crazy. So I started doing research, and there are like some news sources that have done articles, but like I can't find anything on Omar on Odavi. And I was about to like come on here and be like, okay, have you guys like heard of this? And then I start going deeper. And this guy is just like a bullshitter. This TikToker just like makes up fucking stories. All of the videos are AI. Like there's this video of him like with like a chair in the ocean, and like all of these sharks are like coming and like swimming in between his legs. And he's like petting these sharks, and it's like all fake. And this guy, and it's like,
So this guy's really good at AI.
yeah,
Good for him.
and like a good storyteller. Like he's telling these stories. And I'm like, oh my God, like what a cool guy. He does all this stuff for these nonprofits and gives back. And
But
like,
what company wouldn't want to hire that guy on TikTok putting out that level
no,
of AI?
totally. And
Like,
and
absolutely.
there's literally not one person called Omar Odavi. Like he does, like those.
You almost had me. I was like, that name sounds familiar. Like, I think I know that guy.
I could not believe I was literally about to come on and be like, you guys, have you heard of Omar Odavi? Is this guy?
But
But then
there's some smart things psychologically that he did that you figured
that
it
I
out.
fell
though.
for.
But you figured it out. How long
Right.
did you really fall for it?
I know. Well, wasn't, you know, but I originally when I saw the videos, it was like, oh wow, because they kept popping up on my For You page because, you know, I probably like liked them or whatever.
But
And
if it was something sports related, you would have been much more hesitant to believe anything going on.
yeah,
But the fact that it had to do with animals strikes like a core for you.
right.
Like just a part of trust and endurance. And
totally.
you
Like
probably
this
found it
fucker.
amazing. Yeah. You're like, why can't I have that? Right.
Right. I know.
you
Like
love
I
anything.
have metals. Do I have mercury in my blood? Like
And
maybe I have the metals.
do you know what
Why
happens
go
when
get
you
my
have
blood tested?
Do you know what happens when you have too much mercury in
You
your
die?
blood? Yeah, you die. That's what I was getting at. That's why I was like, well, if the metals part
I
would have
want to
got
be
me.
a mermaid.
A mercury mermaid?
Yeah, I want to be a mercury mermaid. I
You-
don't care. I'll die and come back as a mermaid.
But that's
But it
the
just-
AI level of that sounds
There's
pretty
nothing
cool.
like getting bamboozled in real time.
The fact that the guy can do AI that good, that's pretty good.
Well, I mean, these days, like anyone can do AI. Like, and you can just find videos anywhere and then just like edit them and repost. Like, there's just
Well, do you want to hear about how long stuff like this has been going on? And it's even
Forever?
before this story, but I'm going to use Finding Nemo.
okay.
Finding Nemo, they
Was Finding Nemo fake? That wasn't a true story.
no, that was a documentary.
It was a documentary.
Yeah, David Attenborough wrote Finding Nemo. If you don't
Okay,
know
that's
that.
what I thought.
Yeah,
But okay.
I'm gonna do an AI person.
my
on that. What if we
God.
did that? But here's what: during the like some pre screenings, not of like the full movie, but of scenes, they
Mhm.
brought a test group in to see like when some of the scenes. And the most famous one that I remember hearing about was the whale scene,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
where
yeah.
Dory was talking to the whales,
Yep.
and the whales were off in the distance.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Pixar had made the whales look so real
Okay.
that it wasn't, the kids didn't find it as entertaining as the whales being a little more cartoonish. So their AI, their CGI was so good that they actually had to tone it down and make it more cartoonish because it was too real to people.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a true
You know
Finding
the
Nemo
most
story.
random shit. Like, where do you even know that?
Isn't that?
Did you just like look up Finding Nemo fun facts?
No, I think I watched that a long time ago on like a Finding Nemo outtakes thing.
What?
Well, Pixar is that level of like movie making is so interesting to me. It's the same
Okay.
type of level of like, it's the same. It comes from Star Wars because George Lucas was helping to come up with some of the technology that eventually became Pixar. Like there's that whole stepping stone of where that stuff came from.
James, literally encyclopedia. He knows
It's
way
kind of
too
a
much.
cool story.
No, that it's cool. Especially, I mean, it's crazy. Like nowadays, like you really like. It's hard to believe anything. Like,
Well,
what can you trust? Because it's like
you just learn. Here's what you trust. You'd learn to just find the right source, which is what you did.
yeah.
You did an amazing job.
I
That's
did
fantastic.
amazing. Thank you, James. I didn't fall completely for it, but I really kind of
It's okay to believe things, but also go, oh, I wonder where that comes from.
Right.
And there's things you won't let me talk about now that I really do want to talk about.
James,
but fake
no.
news. Yeah.
No. All right. Next on the list, which is going to lead into our James Science Corner. And this is also kind of tied to your fake news and also kind of tied to more hoaxes that I've fallen for this week that I don't know what to believe anymore. But this also started going viral on social media. This was kind of everywhere. How the Pentagon had a congressional hearing this week with their branch of government that looks at UFOs.
Defense.
The
Pentagon is the defense side of things.
Okay, defense. So it's
Yeah.
the defense. Actually, here's their name. This is what they're known as: the All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. And their job is to literally track what actually they're calling UAPs.
We talked
now.
about this on a previous episode.
Yes, we did. The unidentified anomalous phenomena. So basically, clips of this congressional hearing were going viral on social media because apparently, you know, it was also like the way the question was asked. One of the representatives was asking this team, you know, like, what are you finding? And specifically asked, like, is there any evidence to show that there are UAPs or, you know, unidentified? Like, it's also like the way they word it, you know, UFOs, but again, it's like unidentified, anomalous, whatever, in our oceans. And they're all just like, yes, there is. We have found these UAPs, but we have no idea what they are. And so they kind of like, you know, skipped out the last part, you know, of that. And so basically went viral that these guys were like, yeah, like there are UAPs in our ocean. So now everyone's like, okay, so now there are aliens in the ocean. And, you know, a lot of people have been talking about how no one's talking about it. But if you kind of listen to the whole thing, they're not really confirming anything. Like they're saying, yeah, there's weird things we've found in the ocean, but we have no idea what it is. It could be friggin' China, it could be ocean life, it could be aliens, it could be, you know, who even knows?
Well, this ties into just what we were talking about. Is their job is to dive into the source, right? What is
Right.
the actual source? Not
Right.
what's a story that we made up in our head,
Yeah.
but what could this thing actually be, right?
Yeah.
And it's fun to explore, and you have to be in any investigation, you have to be creative of all potential outcomes.
Yep.
Right? You have to look at all of them.
Mhm.
And there's been, I've watched some of these other, I love watching the side that I don't necessarily believe to see how they say things. But like in the UFO, right? There's documented like phenomenon that are traveling from the water to the air and back to the water like super
Yeah.
fast and all
Yep.
these other things, right?
Yep.
That's okay. That's a good thing. Do you want to hear my take on that specific story since we didn't talk about it?
Well, have you have you done like any research on it or read much about it, or are you just kind of going off of what I've told you?
I kind of know what it is off what you've told me, but I'm going to tie it back to what I've always thought is, and we're going to tie. This is also related to what we just talked about with having got.
Yeah.
And one of the original great stories that, in my interpretation, the U.S. government did an amazing job of, even though they lied to everybody, in a good way.
Okay.
We talk about Area 51.
Yeah. Right.
This is all, to me,
All
it's
related.
the same story. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a beautiful way of, I guess, what you have to do as a parent, a good parent. If there's a horrible situation going on, they
Right.
distract their kids from the truth, right?
Mm-hmm. I know, it's like, do we actually want to know the truth? And that's what's funny enough. Just circle back even to the show we're obsessed with. You know, it's like,
Do you really?
Like, is ignorance bliss?
One of my favorite philosophers of all time, Friedrich Nietzsche, one of the fathers of existentialism, was Sven Kierkegaard. One of my favorite quotes is, people don't want to know the truth because it shatters their illusions.
Yeah.
Right. And if you look at back when the first news report came out about aliens landed at Roswell, and then everything really quickly got switched to it was a weather balloon.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you think I'm going with this? I'm going to let you guess.
That they like said it was a weather balloon, so that they
Both stories are the same.
Right.
It was never aliens and it was never a weather balloon. Roswell, Area 51 was very well known for doing certain types of testing for military equipment.
Yeah.
And the last thing the military wants is their top secret information to go out. So what did they do? They created a sensationalized story about something involving aliens. And then they also, on top of that, said weather balloons. All the alien believers out there are never going to believe me. And they're going to throw me a bunch of proof, quote unquote, that has no actual backing to it. But I think that was this is again my own interpretation. I do not have any proof of this, but I think that's an interesting way that we were told a story and then a second story on top of it to distract an
From the
entire
original
way of thinking.
distraction.
Yeah, which is what we were just doing some really high end, probably not good for the whole world military type testing, which is right around the time
Right.
that we dropped some bombs that we shouldn't have on another country.
Well, that's what, I was looking at this Reddit thread too about, people were talking about this, and they were like, like there's some branches of the government that don't know what the other branch of the government is
Yeah.
doing.
And they're
Like it
trying to
could just be the
distract each other.
U.S. is like really
The
secret.
NSA
doing
was
something
created
shady.
because of the CIA. Like they are all
Yeah, they're all
it's
like
checks and balances. That's why we have a judicial,
Totally.
we have Senate, we have a president. We have
Yeah.
those three branches. We all learned that. Checks and balances. And they're all trying to hide stuff from each other too.
right.
So my
Totally.
interpretation of it is both of those stories were put out by the same, but it really did put us all distracted on a whole nother path.
Totally. And yeah, that's why I was like, some of these stories, it couldn't like take up a whole episode because it is the summary of the congressional hearing is we still know nothing.
And that's what congressional hearings that become public are supposed to do.
Right.
We're supposed to watch them, but be distracted.
Yeah.
In a good way.
In a good way.
It's kind of like watching the weather report. You could watch the weather all day long, but you just go stick your hand outside.
Right. I know. And then, yeah, it's like, would we even want to know, like, if the aliens were like, saying to like our government right now, like, we're going to kill you all in a couple days.
And
like, would we want to know that?
And all the alien theorists out there, good. I'm glad there's people out there that want to do that. I'm not against it. Good. I have something to talk about. Right?
Yeah.
Let them do that. Right? But every time that something gets uncovered from the government, it is just talking about they're unleashing things that they already had studied and looked at that they know are forms of technology that are out there, right?
Yeah.
There's some crazy types of aircrafts and technology out there that all governments want to keep secret from each other.
Totally.
But they got to test them somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
I don't know, but also the ocean is just so scary. Like, just thinking about it, like even just that headline, like, are there aliens in the ocean? It's like, wait.
You want to do another fun experiment sometime?
What?
I'd challenge everyone to do this.
Okay.
Look up worldwide.
Okay.
Where do the most alien sightings happen?
Where do the most?
Mm-hmm. Try it sometime. You can try it right now and tell me.
Well, why don't you just tell me so I don't have to
just
search?
The concentration of the entire map is just the United States.
Oh yeah,
pretty
that's
much.
Probably true.
Yeah, it's pretty much like If you look at, we talked about the population of Australia. 97% of Australia lives around the coast, so you'll see that whole light up area.
Yeah.
Look up where do aliens get sighted. And it's
that's because maybe they're all here though. Maybe they're in America. They're just waiting.
Or because it's part of our consciousness.
They're studying us.
So then we look for those things. It's called the reticular formation in the brain. It's kind of like when I tell you don't look at red cars. All you see is red cars.
I don't know, you guys. Life's crazy. Who even knows what's going on? But I don't want to know. Honestly, like, don't even tell me. Like, I really like. It's fun to talk about it because it is like spooky, silly, not silly. Yeah, silly, kind of silly. Just crazy stuff, weird, wild, crazy stuff. But I also like, don't tell me if like we're gonna die. Like, just I don't want to know. And you know what's funny? If we talked about this too, this might be in your brain somewhere. This idea that like humans can't really like think, or we really don't know that we're gonna die. Like we can't like picture in our heads that we're gonna die at some point, because if we did, then we'd think about it all the time. Like we would literally not be able to function because we'd always be like, I'm gonna die soon. So there's like this part of your brain where like you can't really picture ever dying,
I think.
Have you heard about that, or did I make that up, or was that just like a high thought?
It's not something we've totally discussed ever.
Did I make this up?
But
maybe I just like either like dreamt that.
I haven't heard
or made
that
it up.
exact take on it. There's versions of it. I mean, it's part of the reason that there's so many different explanations of what may happen after death, and you could relate a lot of those back to religions.
Yeah.
That we want to understand.
Right.
We want to have an understanding, right? But really, our brain is kind of captured in the moment. The
Yeah.
parts of it can distract off, but the brain is really captured in kind of all the stimulation coming on, right? Whether that's feeling a cold temperature, hearing something off in the distance, like our brain is very much captured on that.
Yeah.
But given those moments, yeah, the the consciousness side of our brain, which is what we see based on behavior,
Yeah.
is different from how other animals behave, right? We're still very
Right.
much fight or flight, but we don't think about like I might die
Right.
right
Like
now.
you can't actually picture like dying.
Like we might
Like your
be
brain like can't comprehend it.
I would argue a different way. I think we almost would be better people if we thought I was going to die tomorrow.
Yeah, but like really think about it. Like, I don't know. It just reminds me, also reminds me of that quote from Barbie. You know, when she's like, have you ever thought about dying?
That was a good part of the
It
movie.
was funny. But really, like it is. Like, obviously, like we know we're gonna die, but like to really comprehend it, you know? I don't know. I'm off on a whole other
You have dug deep
I'm
today.
on another planet.
I love it when you wear your cat butt shirt.
I know. This is such a great shirt. If you're watching, it's my cat butthole shirt. It says hi in the cat's butthole. Anyways, speaking of like weird things going off in space, James.
Are we going to talk about aliens under the water?
What do you mean?
Will you retransitioning to the science corner?
Yes, that's what it was.
Yeah. See, I just needed to make sure. So we're actually talking about aliens underwater because, of course, we all
More
know
aliens underwater.
We all know I believe in that, and more
Right,
importantly,
of course you do.
just kind of like a side note for your birthday, did you know that there might be aliens that we're going to need to probe on Uranus?
Aliens probing my anus?
There might be some aliens on Uranus that need to be probed.
Oh my god, I love when the aliens probe Uranus.
So BBC,
BBL, not to be confused with BBL.
not to be confused with whatever the heck BBL is.
Do you not know what that is?
Not off the top of my head.
It's like I forget what it stands for, but it's like butt implants. It's like when the girls get like those huge Brazilian butt lift. That's what it stands for.
That I am not aware of.
Oh, okay. Well, just want to make sure.
But the planet Uranus.
But
Uranus.
Uranus.
And its 5 biggest moons.
What?
Maybe they did have the BBL.
Wayo.
They might not be dead, sterile worlds after all. Uranus might be alive.
Uranus is alive?
So there was.
Did it feel more alive after Uranus was probed?
When Uranus gets probed, it wakes up. But this Uranus didn't get probed about 40 years ago. So
it did get probed?
It got probed 40 years ago by NASA's Voyager 2.
NASA's nasty.
Oh, yeah.
Nasty bitches.
They're shoving stuff.
Probing Uranus.
They're shoving stuff in holes all the time.
Bunch of freaks.
And what happened is there was potentially what they found after reviewing data is there was a powerful solar storm that may have given
on Uranus.
There
was a powerful solar storm on Uranus.
Yeah, that's might
crazy.
have changed the data they got from being on Uranus.
Okay.
And they have found that some of the icy planets out there, because how far away from the sun it is, right, actually do have some potential environments to have water, actual water, just like our water.
Yeah.
And thus, when they're looking for those zones in space that may have potential life and aliens, water is one of the first things that they look for. Because if there were going to be life similar to us that could survive in our atmosphere, they would have to be water-based, right? So they did find that there were some of the moons were able to sustain frozen water and probably have actual water closer to the
Uranus's moons?
Uranus's moons.
Okay.
The moons around Uranus.
Okay.
Might have water? Might have water and life.
So there could be life on Uranus.
There could be life on Uranus.
Is what you're saying.
Is what they're finding out. Yep.
What?
I know.
If I want to live anywhere, I want to live in Uranus.
I knew you'd come up with a good way to say that.
If I could pick any planet to live on, to live in, I would pick to live In Uranus.
The moons could be stinky because they might have methane in them.
Oh, well, I'll show you stinky
And I'm
Uranus.
not kidding, because there actually is one of the moons of Saturn.
How do they
or
know that? They can't
Jupiter.
sniff? Are the astronauts sniffing Uranus?
Kind of. They
How do
can
they
check
smell
the
Uranus?
they can check kind of the chemical makeup of what these things are.
The atmosphere.
There's also, if you look in the sky and you see like shoot a certain type of comet or meteorite, right?
Yeah.
You can tell what the major mineral makeup is of that
Okay.
meteorite or whatever's flying through space by the color, because different minerals have different light absorptions. Again, we think about light going through a prism and the prism
Yep.
breaking down to the colors of the rainbow,
Yeah.
right? Each of those minerals have a different wavelength that they absorb. When you absorb the light, you let the other parts that you're not absorbing go through, and that's what we can see. That's visual light. Okay.
Fascinating.
But if you do look at one of the moons, I did, it's funny, I knew you were going to ask that, so we looked it up. On Saturn, Titan, one of Saturn's moons, has a thick atmosphere of liquid methane, fart smell, of lakes. And those are unique conditions. And the way those lakes are formed is, they always thought was interesting. But a methane-based creature would be different than us, which is more of a water-based creature, right?
Yeah.
Water is H2O, methane is CH4. For your chemical compounds.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, what's the chemical compound?
I was waiting for you to ask that. Then another one, we've brought up this one before. The reason we brought up Europa is one of Jupiter's moons. And it is also extremely icy. And they know it's very dense in the center. Meaning, if it's dense in the center, it's super hot. Icy on the outside, hot in the middle. There's water somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Right? And also, one of the thoughts of how life propagated or grew on this planet was near the vents in the ocean, like those big vents at the very
I
bottom.
remember.
Yep.
I remember
then
that
the other big
class.
one is Enceladus, which is one of the moons of Saturn. And one of the cool parts about the moons of Saturn, again, connecting this to Uranus, is that it actually has geysers that erupt. So there are actual like mini volcanoes or steam bursts coming out from the center of that moon on Saturn. I just wanted to also look up some of the other moons besides Uranus
that also have activity other than Uranus.
Yeah.
Wow, so much activity on Uranus.
But
how many
since
times
we're talking about
take
aliens,
a shot every time we say Uranus?
Since we're talking about it, that's good. It's funny. I like that one. Since we're talking about underwater aliens, we might as well talk about
Uranus,
some actual alien life.
I love Uranus. That is like one thing that just will never not be funny. Like I remember even as a kid, like, when you're a kid, like that was hilarious.
I mean, I'm okay with Pluto not necessarily being a planet, but Uranus always needs to be a planet.
No, forever
just
and
for
ever.
Joking.
Just because, like, who named it that? Like they knew what they were doing when they named it Uranus.
You know what I didn't look up that I kind of was like, I should really look that up, is so most things in space get named by whoever found it.
Okay.
Right? So there's like a categorizing system for stars, but there are people, if you found it, you can name it.
Yeah.
I do not know who discovered Uranus.
Who did discover Uranus? Captain Uranus.
I'm going to look
Captain Bajo. Captain Bangholio. That's too funny. Wow, James, I feel like, it's always nice to have an update on Uranus.
Underwater aliens. You wanted to know about them.
Seriously, lots going on in the alien realm, Lots of alien chat lately. What are they distracting us from? Anyways, we're a little low on time, but you know what would be kind of fun? Is
secrets?
Well, of course we're going to go into secrets. But before we do, I skipped over the Gen Z slang. But maybe like once a week, like I teach you like a Gen Z slang.
I think that's a great idea.
You know what? You should hold on. Do you know what ate and left no crumbs means? Have you heard that?
No.
People are like, wow, she ate. She ate and left no crumbs.
No.
I mean, a lot of these are also like kind of the same thing. It's like you did good. Like you did good. Bussin', good. Bet, good. Like lit, good. Like they're all just like nice, cool. Like cool is basically
good to know. If somebody says something I don't know, I'll just assume it's either like cool or nice.
Yeah. James, say this. Low key slay king, keep it bussin'.
Low key, Slay King, keep it bussin'.
Whoa! Did that sound cool? You guys say no cap. I stand the Riz.
No cap. I stand the Riz.
Say- Wait, I need to. That's what I need to do is get you some phrases. It's funnier when you say a phrase rather than just like cat, no cap, or
What if
lit.
I just get some T-shirts that say these things?
Okay, let's do it. Do you know what chuggy means?
Is that like Chewbacca from Star Wars?
Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
Because Chewbacca was badass.
That's actually pretty much what it is.
Yeah, Chewbacca
That's the
was awesome.
perfect. That's the perfect answer, to be honest with you. Maybe that'll be like a fun, segment we can add on. We're always looking for like fun new segments, mix it up a little bit, just always trying to keep you guys on your toes and make sure this, we just are always variety of life. All right. It might be that time. Do you think it's that time, James?
I
Do you know
love
what time
that
it
time.
is? You do.
I
how much do you
love
love
that
it?
time.
So much? Let's go 1 to 10. How much do you love this time?
My anus is on fire. I'm so
My
excited.
anus on fire. It's time for secret. Yeah, that's right. It's time for secrets. You heard that right. Secrets up your anus. Yeah, that's right. It's time for the time where you call us in. Tell us something like a weird secret you've done, a weird secret your family does, a weird trip you've been on, a weird, trick. Whatever it is, make it weird and call us. Or by call us, you go to the website, which is
SpeakPipe.
That's speakpipe.com/weird and proud pod. Again, speakpipe.com/weird and proud pod. I always say call us, but it's not that scary. It's really, you go to the website, you hit record, you have up to 1 minute 30 seconds, and it's always anonymous.
Are you like I have a couple clients that are voice texters. They leave me voice texts.
No.
It's similar to
yeah,
yes. SpeakPipe is the same thing.
Yes.
It's just like voice texting a friend.
Yes.
That's all.
Right. I thought you could you meant they could text us. I was like, no, you can't
don't
text us.
But
you
it's
go
like leaving a voice text.
Right.
You go to SpeakPipe, you talk for a while, you're done.
And you're done. And it's always anonymous, unless you want to tell us your name. But we have kind of like a spooky one, kind of like some crazy ones, a little bit of again, something we love, variety. All right, James, are you ready for our first secret?
Ready.
Here we go.
Hi, Sam and James. So when I was a kid, pre-teenager, my best friend growing up had a brother who was a piece of shit. He would constantly beat her up. He was just a nasty person, still is to this day. Her mother was also not very supportive, an asshole to her, treated her like crap, treated the brother like he was Prince Charming. So my friend and my sister both knew how to queef on command. So something they would do when her brother wasn't home they'd suck up air into their canal, I guess, waddle over to his bedroom and queef on his pillow. They also would bare ass fart on her mother's pillow, hoping that the mother would get pink eye. And the mother was also into free bleeding, meaning she didn't wear tampons, pads, anything like that. So all of her underwear would be covered in menstrual cycle blood, often along with her sheets. So we would play soccer ball with her underwear. I know, disgusting, but this was the early 2000s. We didn't have the internet. We'd also used to tuck it under his pillow and his bed sheets. So there was a few months where he'd sleep on top of his mother's blood, unknowingly. But don't feel bad. He deserved it. He's an asshole. Yep. Thank you. Bye-bye.
If that doesn't embody weird and proud, that story is full of weird and proud. Like I'm
weird and pride.
I'm so
no,
happy.
everything about that just was cracking me up. Like the way you were saying things, I don't know, sucking it up their canal. You trying to.
He did a good job of a guy. It's a guy. Maybe he didn't want to say pussy.
Yeah,
or something,
her menstrual cycle.
I love
blood.
I like the deadpan way he delivered.
No,
that was
it was
perfect.
very you. Honestly, was that you?
He delivered that.
Were you talking
perfectly.
about me?
You nailed that.
Playing soccer ball with your mom's menstrual blood sheets is crazy.
And the fact that they went to chemical warfare, like farting, hoping they're getting pink eye.
It's so
That's some genius
funny.
stuff. That's next level thinking.
Yeah, right. It's ingenuitive. That cracked me up. Thank you so much. And it does sound like that guy deserved it. Honestly, like bring back like revenge.
Obviously one, and I can't say this
Uh-oh.
knowing that I'm not a woman.
Oh, okay.
The mom sounds a little off. No?
The mom sounds off. I don't know. They didn't really say much about the mom.
Well, here's what I caught out of it. The older boy was very much a mama's boy because he never got in trouble.
Right.
He could get away with being an asshole. And as I believe he said in the story, the mom never really did anything about it or punished him.
Yeah, right.
When you would think that a parent would try to balance things out rather than play total favorites to one person.
Right.
So we have a situation where the older guy is the mama's boy, getting away with whatever he wants. And the mom is menstruating all over the place. I don't know if that's acceptable. It just seems odd to me. Is that wrong? Like, I'm not a woman.
I like to free bleed.
Good.
But a lot of the times, like if you're free bleeding, like I have like menstrual underwear that I wear. But like, I mean, that's like a new thing. Like some people are like really into that shit. People like are making face masks out of their menstrual blood.
See, then
and, like eating
obviously
it.
I went about that the wrong way.
Yeah, you did.
But the
apologize to
I
the
do
free
apologize.
bleeders.
I said I might not know about this, but more so the unfairness of treating
no, totally.
the guy.
But isn't that like every mom?
I don't know.
Has a favorite. Do they not have a favorite?
But do they leave it to that level where one can beat the crap out of the other?
I don't know. Probably not. No,
that's not okay.
No, I don't know. I'm not. What do I know? But I just know my mom loved my little brother more. So
I'm looking at you because your mom loves you.
No, I know. Obviously, she's obsessed with me, but she's more obsessed with my brothers. Middle child things, you guys know. If you know, you know. Anyways, that was a great story. That was everything like we like look for in a weird voice.
That was weird and proud.
Weird as hell. All right, we have another weird secret. James, are you ready?
Fair.
Here we go.
Hello, Sam and James. Love you guys so much, but I do have a little confession. It's kind of gross, but you know, that's why we're here. But anyways, all my life I have been overweight, and so in my early 20s, I went to a doctor that prescribed me some pills to lose weight. And it was really good. I did lose a lot. However, no one tells you that there's a chemical reaction when you take pills like that, and your body leaks any oil that you eat. So if you eat really greasy foods, well, then you get the runs, and like the oil literally comes out of you. Like it looks so weird, but you're constantly leaking oil out of your, nether region. So, yeah, it was really uncomfortable to always be, nervous to be leaking. And so I stopped the pills. I gained all the weight back, still fat, but at least I could trust a fart now. So who's really winning here, Anyways, glad you enjoyed it. Love y'all. Bye.
First of all, what drug is that? I'm so sorry you went through that.
Oh no, I have a different first reaction. If you can't trust a fart, who are you going to trust?
Right. Well, we always go through those moments.
Now, if you'll let me go on my phone, I'll find what drug it is because I already know what the chemical basis for it is. There was actually a long time back in the early 90s, back in low fat, everything had fake fat, fake everything in it. I'm going to say this wrong because I think that this is actually a drug name. So when I say this, it's like Olestra.
Okay.
I think that's actually, no, Olestra's oh my God, I can't speak. Olestra's a cholesterol medicine, I think. No, but there was a fake. So let's just put it this way. There was a fake fat that was undigestible, that they were putting in like potato chips. So it was the low fat era where you could have this. It was supposed to taste the same, right? Of course, the chemical world, science was going to fix everything. And we were going to put all GMOs in our corn, and we were going to do this, and everything was shelf stable. And we're not supposed to eat fat because that was killing us, when we were completely wrong. And this fake fat thing, I never actually tried the chips because it just seemed too weird, and my dad, being a doctor, was very against them. But again, these things were going to save the world, and it was people would get like leaky butt from eating these fake fats, and they were undigestible, so they tasted like fat, but you couldn't digest it. So
just like come out your butthole.
I think, yeah, that's what when she described it, that's the first thing I thought about, was a leaky Uranus. And I think that there was also a chemical that blocked the ability to break fat down and put it in the system as energy. But that would then, I'm not saying the fat just goes through the whole intestinal system. Maybe some of the nurses could chime in on this, but the two seem too related to me to not be close. Weird. Right? Where you would oils, as she said, you maybe just don't digest as much fat, and you're not absorbing as much of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that sounds similar to me.
Well,
I don't know if it's the same thing, but
the sugar-free candies that I was obsessed with. Oh my God, you have 2 minutes. Oh my God, the farts.
Same sort of thing. Yeah.
Oh my God. Worst gas cramps I've ever had in my life was when I had like too many of those sugar-free Werthers. Like I used to love those.
The sugar-free Werthers.
And I was like, oh, sugar-free. And there's, it's like 5 calories for the whole bag. So of course, you're just chomping away. And then all of a sudden it's danger zone. Talk about methane gas.
Talk about methane gas from
Talk
Uranus.
about a geyser blowing up.
Guys are blowing on Uranus. Again, anytime we try to fake food, we think we're so smart. We always mess up.
Yeah, why don't we just leave it alone? Have some sugar.
Related to the seed oil conversation, the things that are more fake just seem to be worse.
Yeah, no, seriously. Anyways, that was a great story. That was a great secret. We love to hear it. That's amazing. Well, not amazing. You know what I mean?
Feel bad about you.
I know.
But you told the story in a great way too.
It was a great story. It's a good story. All right. This one's, we're gonna end a little creepy, but also like something for the parents to keep an eye out on. Here we go.
Hey, Sam and James. So I'm getting caught up on the podcast, and I think it's 2 weeks ago you were talking about like weird things and kids at night. And so first, before the story, I have to tell you, I'm Christian, so I don't I believe in like demons. I'm not sure about ghosts, but I'm very aware of like my surroundings. I pray over our house, and I also like feel. I used to be a massage therapist, so I feel people's energies. Like I take on their like negative emotions. Anyway, so I'm alone at night a lot because my husband works in the medical field. And my first daughter was about like 2 years old. And at night, I had this really horrible feeling, and she started having night terrors. Well, I would call my dad and be like, hey, Christians believe we're protected by God. And, so things can't get to us if we're, praying and believing in him. So my dad was like, yeah, we've prayed over your house. You're fine. You're fine. Well, I kept having this weird feeling. And so one night that my daughter was having a night terror, I heard someone talking to her, a man's voice. Come to find out she was having night terrors because someone had hacked into our baby cam and was talking to her at night. So we no longer use those with our children. Creepy, and thought you guys should know. Bye.
Right?
Oh my God, I feel so bad for you.
And I've actually heard of that happening, of people being able to hack into like baby cams and baby monitors and like be freaks. Isn't that terrifying? Because people are freaks.
I'm trying to think how I would punish someone that did that to any child.
Straight to Uranus.
Like if that's, put them on a rocket ship to Uranus.
Yeah.
That's
no, but isn't
horrible.
That so scary? Yeah, I had heard about that. Someone had talked about it somewhere, a while ago. But when she was telling that story, I was like, oh my God, I hadn't heard of someone it actually happening to. And I wonder, like, if obviously I don't know how the technology works, but like, are you able to like find out like who it is somehow? I mean, I don't know. But that's like so scary because obviously that person's going to try and do it to other people too.
It depends on I can tell you
like
this.
what it is.
Here's the only thing I can describe that in my brain is similar to it, and I have no idea.
Yep.
But those are like in my brain, and again, there might be more sophisticated ones, but they're kind of like a walkie-talkie. And a walkie-talkie,
Yeah.
right?
Maybe that's what I think like that's what I was thinking. It was like it's kind of scary. Like if it's like a neighbor, like isn't it someone that has to be like somewhat close?
Yeah, it's a radio. Well, depends. Is this one online?
Yeah.
I don't know how the technology of baby monitors works these days. But if it's online, once you hack in, all you have to do is be in the same frequency of that, right? And you can talk back and forth, right? I was this was forever ago, in early 2000s. I was in the restaurant industry working at the time, and this guy who was super cool was in military intelligence. And we were talking, and he was like, he used to set up comms for the military, and this was before really the internet, but they were using internet-like things in the military in the late 90s, right? This was the time the internet was growing. And he's like, oh yeah, he goes, everything's just on a radio frequency. He goes, here, watch this. And he pulls a garage door opener out of his pocket, and he starts changing the channels on the TV.
Yeah.
Because it would scan for radio frequencies and it would combine with them, right? So when somebody has that kind of power, it's like, why would somebody choose to do that to a child and go on and that's it's awful.
That's why it's like I would, hope you'd be able to find who they are.
That's what, I know, but I don't know how easy that's.
No, who knows? But that's so scary, so sad. I mean, I'm glad you were able to obviously find for anything.
I'm glad your family has such strong belief systems, but also you dug deeper than just the belief system. You went to look for other alternate explanations.
Yeah, it's always mom's instincts. Mom, like there is that instinct that moms just naturally have for their kids. That thank God we do have. But so scary. And just like a good like PSA, to people who maybe have baby monitors. I don't even know, like I don't know if you could tell like what kind it is, or like if that's also again a thing that's happening more widely that I just obviously am not aware of, but scary stuff. Anyways, if you want to send us a weird secret, a weird story, also with the holidays coming up, Thanksgiving coming up, any weird Thanksgiving things that your family does that you've done, weird foods, like really weird, traditions that your family has.
Did anyone bring somebody home for the holidays, like a date that became a very strange situation?
Right.
There's probably
we love
a lot
some of those. A weird trip, a weird, holiday trip. Let us know. Call us in at
SpeakPipe.
That's speakpipe.com/weirdandproudpod. Again, speakpipe.com/weirdandproudpod. It'll be in the description. Also, you can click the link in our Instagram bio. Make sure you're following us on Instagram, Weird and Proud Pod. We always post updates and clips and all the things on there. So make sure you're following along. Also, one last birthday wish that I do ask is just make sure you're subscribed. Like wherever you're listening to this, just make sure you're following and you're subscribed. Then you can just know whenever there's new episodes. And again, I know the numbers, it's the numbers, the algorithm, but we're always trying to beat the algorithm. And that always helps us greatly. So
makes us feel good.
Well, I know you guys are listening. I know you're listening. The numbers just aren't adding up, with how many people are subscribed. So I'm just saying, if you could just subscribe, that would help the algorithm, which is good for our podcast to grow. And it makes us feel good. We love you guys so much. James, anything else you want to tell the people?
Love you, weirdlings.
We love you so much, and we'll see you next time. Love you. Bye.